In due process, gun skill isn't everything. Without a good plan, a round can go south very fast. In this video, I am going to go over some of my tips and tricks to help you plan better in the upcoming matches. A lot goes into creating a perfect plan. From picking an entry point to finding the right execute onto site, this video will cover it all. Before we get into it, I just want to quickly shout out my Patreon. There will be a link in the description for you to click and help support me and my channel. Anyway, let's get right into it. The first tip I will give is about choosing your entry points. This can be very daunting to a new player, especially if they're not aware of what other options they have. For me, personally, I try and pick a room that allows me access to a few other rooms that provide an overall benefit during the round. Rooms such as office and teller are useful in holding key positions, whereas rooms like club, backstage, or even lockers can provide some meaningful power positions and cover. The next step is direction. Which way do you want to approach the bomb? If bomb is accessible from two rooms, your job is to pinpoint and execute on the easiest room possible for your entry. Sometimes this means using a wall charge, or just brute force with flashes, frags, and smokes. However, this is entirely dependent on your previous track history. If this is your first round, it may not be the best option to go all out. However, if it is your second or third, and you are in a strong and comfortable lead, this might be an option for you. If the opportunity presents itself where you can get an easy breach into the site, oftentimes most teams will take it, as defenders have a hard time trying to play retake. The second tip I'm going to give is about contingency. If something in your plan goes awry or falls apart, it is the opportunity for recovery that is most difficult. As most of you know, improvisation is very tough, and in a tactical strategy game such as due process, it is even more paramount that you understand how to retake, reposition, and re-engage on your enemy. With this being said, sometimes the best strategy is to go all guns blazing. Sometimes relying on pure gun skill is the key difference between winning or losing a round. Individual play matters, as well as understanding team positioning. I know that in casuals it's very difficult to actually lead a team to success, but on the off chance that you do, this kind of leadership is needed. Being able to reshape and adjust an already existing plan can turn a round loss into a round win in a matter of seconds. To do this, understand the amount of utility you have left and what can be spared on which rooms, as well as the quickest or most efficient way onto the site. This is obviously an attacker thing, but as a defender you could also do the same, understanding flank positions as well as little rat spots that you can use to surprise your enemy or waste their time. This third tip mainly applies to defending. As a defender, coming up with a plan or a strategy in order to counter your opponents is very tough. There are a lot of variables that go into a defending round, such as the choosing point of the attack and how they decide to execute it. This can lead to a lot of confusion and unexpected gunfights or angles held to counter the attack. A lot of the time, people tend to place barb where they know the attack is going to be coming from. However, there is a thing that we use called reactive barbing. This is usually done on a breach or an entry point where the attack is starting. This forces out extra utilities such as a frag grenade or extra flashes being used. To do this, simply stand a tile away from the red door, and when that breach happens, immediately run across, place down the barbed wire without stopping, and run away. Another thing to do with barb is usually hold 1, just in case the attack happens from another angle. Place an extra barbed wire somewhere else other than where you anticipated the attack. As I have said, defending is a lot more reactive based rather than aggressive, and therefore as a defender your playstyle should reflect this. However, as with many things, there will be abnormalities where you can get away with playing aggressive. However, these are very infrequent and should be utilized when the opportunity presents itself. When planning as a defender, use the map wisely. Mark where you wish to place barbed wire, as well as where you wish to have rotates, or even mark where some rack corners are for other people to use if you need. To win defensive rounds, teamwork is a must, even more so than attacking, as relying on pure gun skill alone will often leave you with one man down early on, or even 3 or 4. This can really harm yourselves in the later rounds. The fourth tip I have is about using utility together. Things as a flash and a smoke together through a window on factory is more effective than just throwing one and it not reaching where you wish it to land. Oftentimes you'll see a nade thrown into a factory window. This is to either get some early damage on your opponent or find yourself with a one-man advantage from a difficult position that you'll have to challenge later. As a defender, combining Molotovs and barbed wire together are essential to getting a lot of damage done, as well as slowing down a potential breach. One thing I do love to do as a defender, however, is to secure myself a smoke grenade and throw a Molotov within that smoke. Because smokes work differently in the process than they do in CS, Molotovs are not put out by the smoke. So you can throw one in and it will still do damage to anyone walking through. Best thing about it is the attackers can't tell the difference until they're in. Most of the time they're going to assume that a defender is going to be playing in that smoke because they threw it. But a nasty little surprise will be waiting for them inside that smoke, and you'll nab yourself either an early kill or better yet some team damage. As an attacker you are very limited to dealing with barbed wire. Your only piece of equipment that can destroy them is a frag grenade, and you only get 2. Teams will often save that frag grenade for an entry that is going to be heavily barbed wired, so that they can get rid of that barbed wire and push in with the execute. Anything that slows them down is just going to be frustrating for them to deal with, so be prepared to see a barbed wire to get destroyed. As a defender, you can use this to your advantage. Placing aggressive barbed wires that they are either forced to go through or even forced to clear with that frag grenade can mean that you'll end up with an extra bit of barbed wire at the end of the round on that doorway into the site. I saved the best tip till last. Everybody knows the saying, teamwork makes the dream work, and in due process, that's no different. Communicating with your teammates is the best thing you can do as an in-game leader, or even just a team member. Asking what's the plan, or better yet, how do you want to approach this, can initiate a conversation and map planning to begin. Use this time wisely to understand the map, and as well as how to approach the building. Decide on an entry point together and make sure you bring the correct equipment. From there you decide which rooms you wish to take, wish to ignore, and some that you should be cautious about later in the round. You should also be designating someone to flank watch, someone to being the breacher, and someone to being the entry. The entry's job is very self-explanatory. They are the person that enters into the building and tries to get the opening pick. Breachers tend to be people who are using shotguns or relying on the explosives to enter the building. Most of the time this is split up between 2 people. However, there are the odd occasions where it's best to only have one person with the door charger and clacker. The flank watch should be the last person in the building. It is his or her job to watch the flank and make sure that no one sneaks up behind you guys. This is an important role that every team should have. From there, the pace of the round changes. Sometimes you'll be forced to make aggressive plays, other times a little bit more passive, depending on how your opponents are playing. As an attacker, your objective is to control the room. Anyway, that concludes the video on planning. Anyway, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/feedmachines. I stream Monday to Wednesday, 3 PM GMT, as well as Friday and Saturday at the same times. You can hop in, chat, ask me any questions about due process or any games that I play. I do stream very regularly, so you shouldn't miss me on the channel too much. I look forward to be doing more videos in the future, giving some more tips and tricks as well as my personal opinions on some upcoming changes to due process. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, hope you guys are staying safe. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment below telling me your favourite part about planning in due process. In the meantime guys, stay safe, peace out.